chose Galen because of its strong reputation.
Great scholarships.
I came because I can take all my classes online.
Because Galen University opens doors to the outside world.
Their course offering in tourism.
It gives you more opportunity to become who I want to be.
If you want to connect with your inner champion to make the world a better place, then Galen is right for you.
Did you know Sagicor has a plan to help protect your income against the life-threatening illnesses that we face today? I would be more than happy to tell you about it. So let's talk. Sagicor, keeping its promise to you. Wise financial thinking for life.
I had a really good time tonight.
So did I.
Life moves fast. Be prepared with Sagicor. Learn more at sagicorlife.com.
Mr. Musa, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Rhonda, and thanks for having me on your show again. The last time we spoke, we were with Sahar and we had a great time, and I hope the audience felt the same way.
I am sure that they did, and I'm sure we're going to have an even greater time today if that is possible. Today we are here to learn a little bit about Yasser Musa.
Why he continues to make the kind of choices that he does, because we all know that he does not need to be, some people would say stuck inside the image factory, some people would say just say inside the image factory. But as we progress during this show, we'll find out why he's still there. Why is it so important to him? But before we get into that, let's learn a little bit about how he was brought up. Where were you born and where did you grow up, Mr. Musa?
Well, I was born in Belize City at what people who are older know as the Old Belize City Hospital, which is near the seaside by Eve Street, Belize City. I grew up first at Adams Lane, like age 1 or 2, but then my parents moved to Hunter's Lane, which is near the town clock. I grew up there for another 6 or 7 years, and I guess before the age of 10, we moved to what is called the Kings Park area, that's where I had my formative years in ending high school, junior college. And then I had the opportunity, the privilege, I would say, to go and study first economics in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at LSU, university there. But then I completely realized that while economics was very intriguing and interesting from a political and a social and understanding the world standpoint, I really didn't feel that should be my life. I felt like it should be a part of my intellectual life, how I understand the world, but it shouldn't be my practical life, what I do on a daily basis. So I said, you know what? I'm going to study art. Now that at the time, which was 1991, was a kind of a radical thing, even for my family, because who does that? No, that's not something that is in the orbit of regular, family parlance. Oh, I can't wait for my son to grow up to become an artist. That's never said, rarely it's said. But as the old cliche goes, you somehow feel inside of you, and you know at some point, some people don't, but in my case, I did. I felt a burning desire to express myself, to express my thoughts, to express my ideas, to project what I was feeling inside based on how I observed the world. And I thought that art was essentially that place. I really didn't know, nor do I still know after all these years, but I am still struggling with how to be an artist. But it's not like I wake up every day saying, man, I wish I was not an artist. Actually, the opposite. Whenever somebody asks me, is that something you love doing? It is just doing. So it's really not a job or a profession. It's just my life. Of course, that is, to me, intersected with teaching, right? And both of them, to me, are symbiotic. There is no stopping in teaching and no starting in art, and no starting in art and stopping in teaching. It just goes together. Okay, so then that university thing, I said, okay, I will study art history. Because I didn't care about the making of art. I felt like I knew how to make art. All we could draw and paint how we want. Well, actually, from then I said, nobody will tell me how to draw. I will do it how I want. So I wasn't interested in having someone say, okay, this is how you do this. What I was interested in is learning about the history of art, the legacy of how human beings make what things that we call art, and throughout culture. So it had a big cultural idea to me.
What do you believe contributed to that interest?
That's a question that I always ask myself, and many times when I'm interviewed by students about my life or whatever, I always pin it down to a couple things. One, both my mother and father were avid readers. They are people of ideas. Like, they like to discuss ideas, and they like to discuss things happening around. Obviously, it's not a secret. I also come from a political family, so the political discussion was tied to the cultural discussion inside my home. And my father and my mother read very different things. So I figured from early, I guess these things get into your brain wave, that it doesn't matter if you're reading about, like, I used to remember a book that is so powerful in my mind, Where There Are No Doctors. My mom has worked for over 50 years at BCVI, right? The Belize Council for the Visually Impaired. And she had a book on the shelf that's called Where There Are No Doctors. And that stunned me. I said, what? I thought doctors were everywhere. I thought that because doctors are so important that everybody should be having access to health. But little did I know that I was involved in listening to this person, which is my mom, in her life, deal with the idea of caring for people, and in her case, the blind. So then, your question is important, because your orientation in terms of your worldview, I think comes from, or it can come from, your parents. So that was like the first orientation. And then I went to school and started to listen to my peers and teachers, and then I learned as well like that.
There's so many things I want to say right now, but I have to pace myself, because I have so many questions for you. But one of the things that I'd like to know now is, how were you viewed by your peers? I would imagine back then, when you said you wanted to be an artist, they probably thought, you know what, boy, your parents rich, you could do anything, including nothing. So what was it like?
Yeah, well, I didn't get that. I got that in other ways, like, oh, you could do what you want. I always got that. Not just rich, which is, fine, but also you're connected politically, you don't set all that stuff. Yes, excellent. As the famous artist once said, much has been decided before you were born. I didn't choose my circumstance, but nor do I ever shy away from the privilege that I came out of. But I am very grateful, but also I don't stop there. I figure that I have to participate in the space of society, in the space of cultural ongoing activity. But my first awakening, I guess that's what you're referring to, in terms of how my peers looked at art. My best friend, Jules Vasquez, who is a journalist still to this day, he and I were in junior college together, and we used to write poems and do all kinds of things. I published a book, but he never ridiculed it. He thought it was, fascinating and so. So the circle that I was in was a kind of debate circle as well, that we were always discussing things. So it kind of was connected to my family circle. So I didn't see it as foreign. We used to go back to my home and listen to my father's records and listen to Rolling Stones and Bob Marley. The original vinyl Bob Marley. And so we were kind of connecting to that umbilical cord of culture that was inside the incubator of my home. Because it was a rich amalgamation of books and music. And to me, books are the vitamin of the mind, and music is the vitamin of the heart. And when you mix those two together, it's a beautiful cocktail of energy. So
it's interesting how you described your home. Let's talk a little bit more about that. What was it like with your siblings? What was it like growing up with at some point, your father being the prime minister of this country?
Well, he became prime minister when I was already conscious, so to speak. I wasn't a toddler. I said, what the hell is that? Blah, blah, blah. I was very conscious, and I was actually in many ways involved in that political process, which I felt and feel to this day very privileged again. Because privilege, and sometimes people say that privilege is just your bank account and things like that. But privilege is the ability right now, for example, to be speaking to you and other people being able to listen and think and absorb. That is a privilege. The same way that as a country, we're now having to expect that our frontline workers, whether it's BDF or nurses or doctors, they have a privilege, to be at the front of a global pandemic thing. So that's when I use a term, I'm not trying to say, I am coming from the privileged class, Rhonda, and right? So growing up, I understood that I was inside of a political family. Because when I was 11, that's when we got independence. So that moment of independence in 1981 was to me it's almost like if you take in the band when they slam their thing together, cymbals, pshing, loud, that was independence, right? That's what everybody says we're going to have and blah, blah, blah. Of course, just like the COVID curve, independence was just the beginning, and it has the valleys and the peaks and the waves and things like that. And so each generation has to confront its inner motive as to how it will relate to the nation state of Belize, or being in this space we call Belize. So to answer your question, I know I'm going all around. I felt, yes, that we were in this political family, but also I felt there was an important moment. And as time went on and I got older, I was able to more recognize and appreciate the social and political and cultural space I was in.
Since you mentioned independence, I want to stick there a little bit. What did that mean for you at that time? Being 11, being in a home that's filled with conversations that has a lot to do with politics. What did that mean to you then?
That's a great question. It really didn't mean anything to me then, but I projected, I know from my age 18, 19 up, and I'm almost 50. Every time I think about that moment, because I really feel as an artist, I am connected to that idea. That I feel like I'm a Belizean artist in a global world, meaning I am a local North Front Street Belize City. Physically I'm here, but I also recognize that I'm watching the screen, that I'm also in a global environment. So I think that we all should consider what independence means, both from a personal standpoint, because it really deals with your self-determination, how you carry yourself, how you conduct yourself as a citizen, how you behave toward others. So there is a spiritual dimension as well to independence. There is a political dimension. There is an economic dimension. And I don't want it to sound like, we just have these dimensions and we're walking into a Matrix movie. I want it to feel as if our very existence depends on our actions in the society, and that is somehow connected to the collective spirit, if that makes any sense. The collective spirit of, look, why are we calling ourselves Belizean? Is it because it's on the passport? Is it because it's in this map? Is it a geographic thing? What is it? So that's not an easy thing to deal with. You have to constantly question this thing.
How did you see yourself as a young artist when you first started out?
I was very irreverent, disrespectful, very antagonistic, provocative. I was intentionally trying to break down what I felt, or of how I felt the system of art was, how it was a stupid thing in terms of people just think you paint pretty trees and the landscape and that's art. I thought that was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous to me. I felt that if we were to move forward as a society, we needed to embrace new ideas, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. And so, for example, in 1992, which was the 500th anniversary of the invasion of Europe into the Americas, 1492 to 1992, Columbus to 1992. Myself and Ivan Duran of Stone Tree Records, we developed an exhibit called -8, which at the time we were counting to the next millennium. So -8 is 1992, -7 on and on to the year 2000. Because I guess we felt like the world would have ended or something. But we took a exhibit, we did an exhibit at the Bliss called -8, and we put garbage and broken up televisions. I mean, there are images of it that you can Google online and see, but it was a complete destruction motivated by a reconstruction, if that makes any sense. Like we were just making a very clear statement that this is the line that we think we should make as it relates to our idea about art.
Who would you say had the most impact on your life growing up, your mother or your father?
Well, I think both of them, and both of them in different ways. Certainly from a standpoint of connecting to the idea of compassion and the idea of service to others would be my mother, because her example is a continuous 50-year legacy, uninterrupted, 50 years plus, because my whole life, legacy of serving in that NGO. We always hear NGO as if it's some kind of abstraction. An NGO is a real thing. It's outside of the government space, and it is taking up a responsibility that the society needs. In her case, it's blindness, and that isn't just a simple thing. Right now, the BCVI has a network across Belize. So from that compassionate, empathetic standpoint, I would say I try to emulate and model myself from my mother. Now, when it comes to this love and fixation and obsession almost about ideas and thinking how we can get together and build new things and develop things as people, like in my art life and in my teaching life, I think a lot of that comes from my father, because then I was always fascinated by the political charisma. Of course, you know, I am just completely blinded because he's my father, so I'm just watching this man go wave up a hand and go all crazy, and then just having people cheer for him. And so that for me was like, wow, charisma counts for something. And as another artist famously say, lack of charisma can be fatal.
It's interesting. When you were growing up, we know what you are now. We know what you turned out to be.
I'm still becoming, yes.
I'm still becoming, like you say.
I'm on the track.
Yes. What was one of the things that you really wanted to be?
I was clear. I wanted to be a teacher and an artist. I still want to be that.
From the beginning?
From the beginning. It was in junior college thinking, man, what could I want to do? And so, remember I told you about the economics thing? I flirted with that because I thought that was like an acceptable norm. You know, you go and work at a bank or some crazy thing. But I always had that fear that it would be totally irrelevant to my view. I really felt I had a view as to what I wanted to do. And then now I have the experience. I've been teaching 27 years and making art probably even more. Now that I have the experience, I feel as if it's like a rich, how can I describe this? Like, okay, so then I figured when I was 17 or so, I go into a backyard and then there's just this space, right? And I say to myself, wow, I wonder if I plant these things. And so, like, I didn't know how it would look, but I just said, wow, this is a space I can work with and in. And now if I look at that backyard, I can see a diversity, a complexity of items in that garden. You know, they have cilantro and maybe a papaya tree and a guava tree and all the things that I like, watermelon, mango. Oh, there'll be a lot of mango trees. So the how you call it, the flourishing of ideas in terms of what I had, to me, and that's why I used the term privilege earlier, is my greatest privilege, that I got the chance to journey along the way to do the things in that garden. that makes any sense.
Everything you say makes sense, yes, sir. Musa.
By the way, that little boy that you're seated is my son. And he's in the orange shirt.
Is he?
Yeah. He turned 23 yesterday. So you can see how life is, no? So he would be like a little small cilantro tree in that garden.
And now he's a towering
big papaya,
yes. Tree now.
Yes, because I mean, he's amazing. He's studying at a university, doing a PhD in soft robotics. I mean, if you ask me what it is, I can't answer you. But the same thing I saw in myself, I see now in my children. Like they're doing things that they want to do.
Well, I would imagine you as an artist would accept just about anything that your children say they want to be when they come to you, because you understand the freedom that exists with that. But how was it received when you said to your parents that you want to go and get your degree in art?
To be fair to them, they did not blink, because I teach art, right? And whenever, even just at a second form level, I don't get it now as much, because nowadays people find that art is something good and it's important to have in school. They don't want their children to be artists. That's still clear. But they want them to take art in school. That at least we've evolved to that. But in 1994, when I started to teach art, we used to have a choice between art and woodwork, I think, or art and history or something like that. But the ones that chose art, I remember them having this struggle that you talk about, because they would come and say, you know, my parents say this is a foolish thing. And then when they come for a report card, they would say, please don't encourage my son too much in art. I don't want him to get the wrong idea that he can do this for his life and so. So I am very aware of the social attitude towards something like art. So, but I can't say that there was one day where my parents ever dissuaded me. As a matter of fact, they've always been to every exhibition that they can come. They've always been supportive, not just of that decision, because in a way, it's kind of easy to support any first decision of your child. What is even more important is to continuously support your child. So it's like saying, oh yeah, I don't mind my son play football, but do you go to his or her football games? Do you sit in the bleachers and watch? To me, remember I was talking earlier, the conduct of a citizen, that is the conduct of a citizen, right? That's not just the conduct of a parent. It's your responsibility as a citizen to be there so that the other kids see that you're participating in a community effort.
On that note, we're going to take a break and be back.
Free t-shirt? The answer is yes! Get a free t-shirt at Caribbean Tire with every Valvoline oil change. Caribbean Tire, taking you home safely.
At NextGen, we work for you. Because despite you not being able to be together, we can keep you connected, united, talking to each other, seeing each other, communicating with each other. Stay connected with NextGen.
NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
At West-Trac Belize City, we are looking to help you save both your time and money. We've also improved our stock levels to ensure we have everything you might need for your automotive or agricultural needs. Additionally, West-Trac has added heavy-duty and industrial parts to keep your trucks and equipment running. At West-Trac Belize City, we understand that your time is important, so we want to bring our services to you at your convenience. Now you can simply send us a message on WhatsApp or Facebook, and we will be right there to help with any questions you may have.
Me and my Marie shops in Inn Lake.
Me and my Marie Sharp in Indiana.
I'm in Rhonda Beach, California with my Marie Sharp.
Me and my Marie shops in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Me and my Marie shop that are Hertfordshire, England.
Me and my Marie Sharps in Taipei, Taiwan.
Marie Sharp, world-class products produced in Belize.
Did you know that it's best to keep the lumber stored in a dry place?
At KT Enterprises, all our wood is stored in an enclosed space to provide our clients with the highest quality.
We allow you to personally select your lumber if you choose, and we deliver countrywide.
Be it deck board, beams, and imported hardwoods such as red oak and white ash. At KT Enterprises, we provide you with the highest grade in treated pine, construction grade plywood, and imported hardwood. delivered to your door.
We continue to build Belize by reforesting its pine forest.
Visit us today at 2.3 miles Iguana Creek Road or give us a call at 671-0114 or 672-0114.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we believe our job is very essential in serving our customers. And that is just one reason why visiting us is an experience to be remembered.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we have a reliable fleet of trucks. We specialize in countrywide delivery of all our material.
Coop Sheet Metal is a family business that was started by my grandfather, who even had many of his machines hand-built decades ago to make our products the most reliable in Belize. Come visit us at our new facility on Iguana Creek Road, just past the Belize River leading to Spanish Lookout.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because of its perfect portion sizes, and I can travel with it.
Because it's nice and soft and creamy, and it goes smooth on your bread.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because I eat it with my beans. I eat it with my fried jack. And you know why? Because it's nice.
Most of all, when you're on the plane, you know they only give you some crackers and you could just take one out and enjoy it with Happy Cow cheese.
I'm Miss Baker, and I choose Happy Cow cheese because it goes well with all the stuff I bake.
Happy Cow cheese. Look for it in a store near you. Distributed in Belize exclusively by Emilio Ahmad and Sons Limited.
New Buildings Limited is the company of choice when it comes to design, fabricating, and erection of wide-span metal buildings in Belize. At New Buildings, we have a team of well-trained professionals that can produce the most innovative and durable metal structures. Be it domestic or industrial buildings, we can get it done for you. We have put together some of the most outstanding metal structures in the country. We also do estimates and consulting. Visit New Buildings in Spanish Lookout or give them a call at 631-8723 or 610-5185. New Buildings Limited, the experts when it comes to metal structures in Belize.
Welcome back to Morning Matters. Yasser Musa in with us this morning. Mr. Musa, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. We have over 25 years. I am sure that you have contributed a lot.
Physically, mentally, and emotionally to art. But I want to talk about some of the contributions that you have physically done. You've made a lot of art exhibitions. You've taken a lot of pictures. A lot of people that you have came in contact with have come and gone. And I want to start off by this picture that I have in the back. It is of this Belizean lady. It's of this Belizean lady seemingly just holding a tray of some sort. What made you take this picture? If you didn't take it, what do you contribute somebody taking this picture to?
Well, I think I took that picture, but the image is from, the context of that picture is this. Katie Usher is a well-known Belizean artist that I admire dearly. For 4 years, from 2014 to 2017, 14, 15, 16, 17, yes, 4 years. She, every summer, would have a lab, like a laboratory, inside the image factory. The image factory would just provide the space, the video documentation, we post it to the web. So we were just facilitators. But from her mind, she came up with this idea, which to me is the art, is to have a lab. And then she would invite and organize and schedule in a 2-week period, maybe 10, 15, 20 artists to come in just for a day. So I got a day, another artist got a day, and we would come in and make our work, present it and document it, and take it down and move out. The idea was that art is a laboratory of the mind. It is an incubator of your soul, so to speak. And that specific one was by an artist, I can't remember her last name, her first name is Amy. And she did a store, like a real store with herbs and spices from her garden. And the lady that you're talking about was part of the public. We invited the public to come, and everything was free. You just had the only payment when you reach a cash register. This is the art idea, it's brilliant. You go in the shop, you pick up what you want, free. You go like to a market. But the payment is that you have to sit down and give your thoughts to the cashier. And your thoughts is the money. Your thoughts is the payment. Now, obviously, for someone like you that appreciates art, and so you are like, wow, that's amazing, because thoughts are. But for, somebody that goes to buy snow cones or whatever, they might say, man, that's really ridiculous. But relevant. The point is, that lady, Joan Kelly, the one holding the bag, was a fan of Image Factory, comes to many of our shows. But then she unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. But that was that moment there of that photo. That really is 1,000 words. 1,000 words.
That is 1,000 words. And then I moved to one with a young child standing in front of what seems to be a library.
Okay, that might be the same little boy at the back, my son, Mishek. But I know that year, Mishek and Maya, my daughter, were helping me in 2009 to put together a show I was doing for 20 years of my own art. But that scene of books is the Image Factory Library. And incidentally, good that you brought that image, on the 5th of June this year, we took down all those books, packed them up, and we donated them to the National Heritage Library as part of our 25 years. So the library is now cataloging all of that, and soon, maybe sometime early next year, they will open an Image Factory room of all our books that we've collected. Not just books we've collected in terms of reading and art books, but books that we've produced, because we've produced a lot of books.
I was going to ask you, how did you find 5,000 books to give to the library? But now I know you just answered my question. When you started this business 25 years ago, what was your idea of it? What did you think it would turn out to be?
Well, certainly I never thought of it like a traditional business, but I did think about the business of art. And what do I mean by that? A book costs money. An exhibition costs money. A painting costs money. To turn on the lights in a gallery costs money. So all of the essential ingredients of what it would take to run a space had to have been secured. That's one issue. To me, that's the easier issue. To me, the infrastructure of building up a culture of like a stage, let's call it, is the easy part. What is hard is to get a society to believe that their thoughts, their ideas, their music, their dance, their way of being, their conduct to becoming a citizen, the culture of a people, is what we need to invest in, not necessarily by money, but by developing the ideas of artists to show the way. To me, that's what art does. It illuminates, it lights up, it sparks the potential of something that's not yet there.
Do you believe that over the years you have achieved that with this society?
Well, like everything else, it's a work in progress, and the struggle is real, and the struggle continues. And I don't mean to sound sarcastic, but the answer is yes and no. We cannot sit down and say, okay, yes, we've had whatever, 190 exhibitions, we've published 200 books, whatever. We cannot sit on any laurel, because it was not a pageant that we were in. We didn't go for a beauty contest and say, we win Queen of the Bay or Miss Universe and we won. That was never the idea. What we are involved in is a deep-seated struggle to discover and to become who we are. And that will not take my life, not that little boy standing behind you, not his children if he has, but it will take the conduct of change, the idea that unless you see the unity in community, you will not be able to imagine a society other than, what's important for me. So I think we are in an ideological battle as well. And the battle is real.
You come from an environment where one may be of the impression that Yasser didn't need much when he was growing up. So, and you still live in a society or in an environment where Yasser still doesn't need much from the outside world. So what creates such strong passion for this kind of awareness from you?
Well, I think it's because I'm an artist and I'm a teacher. Some artists and some teachers are of different mindsets, of different economic standing, of different ethnic background, but that doesn't make them any more or less an artist or a teacher. To me, and this is my view, what makes you an artist or a teacher is your inclination, your human drive toward working in a certain space. In the case of the teaching life, I never saw myself as a teacher in a classroom and standing in the front. So that, to me, that was always ridiculous. How the hell can I be empowering when I establish at the beginning a sense of power over people? That's always the contradiction, right? So in many ways, my struggle with the education system, and we had discussed this in more detail last time, is that we do not yet have the attitude or the spirit to infuse creativity and to bring like a celebration of people's ideas, and in this case, the students' ideas. So I don't think the discussion, if you have $1 billion with a B dollars in the bank or $100 in the bank, if you're in a state of consciousness about who you are as a human being, you will struggle with the pursuits of the things you were talking about.
What do you think can be done to better infuse this creativity? What can the people that are in power, if you will, and when I say power, I don't necessarily mean political power, I mean the teachers, the general public. What can they do, in your opinion, or one thing that they can do to kind of, like we just say, give way to it?
That's a hard and a very important question. And it is a question that requires a sense that you're working in a space of collaboration. So when you have a group of teachers, if they can't cooperate and collaborate together, then you might as well call that a Titanic, because that's going to sink. And when you have, for example, a state and a church that does not know how to synchronize the ideology as to why they exist, what is the root of their purpose, why do they say they want education? Because the political crowd said they put in a manifesto, and the religious crowd said that God tell them they have to do it. Where is the symmetry in that? And to me, we are still struggling with that symmetry. Whose obligation it is to create a revolution of young people? Because if we think that our education system is only to prepare them for a job, then this whole COVID and this whole new 21st century life has completely shattered that, in the sense that you do not know what types of jobs are around the corner. So can't you focus on preparing a young person to have the value to show up at that football game, the value to work together with his or her peers to build an exhibition, the value to say, you know what, I will help my sister or brother after school because they don't know how to use the Google Classroom, or they don't know yet, they might not have access to the internet, so I provide one hotspot. That otherness idea is, to me, can be taught, but it's not easy to teach. But that, to me, is a big way to change.
That conversation can go on for a very long time, because after that I would say, what do you attribute your awareness to? Because you seem very aware. And don't tell me it's because you're an artist, because,
I think it has to do.
Continuous reading helps. And I'm going to tell you something which I struggle with, but I'm learning to do better. Listening helps. I know I listen and I hear a lot of things, but the way my brain works, because I consume things at a large quantity, at least how I feel, like I have to watch this, read this, it has to always be busy, right? So sometimes I feel like I am not paying attention. And then days later, I remember, oh yes, but then I get into a zone as to focus on that. But I think that knowing and reading and learning and absorbing is one thing. But listening is another, because listening is the portal to where collaboration starts. So for example, like I say, Rhonda, we could do an exhibition with photography. And you say, wow, that's a great idea. And then I say, well, I don't know if Rhonda even, I want to just go ahead and make all the images. But then I never even stop and say, look, Rhonda, what kind of photography exhibit we want to do? What do you think? All right, I don't know yet. Make you think about it. Calm down, then come back and collaborate. Collaboration requires time, and it requires patience and listening to each other. So that is something we all struggle with, because ego is somehow some magic idea in our brain that says, well, I know better, I know better. It's a survival mechanism, right? So I guess I'm coming to the idea of where does reflection in our life exists. And if you think of it only in a religious way or a spiritual way, which is like prayer, that's one and an important thing. But also to me, reflection is in the lived live experience as you're going around your day. You can't just say, okay, this evening when the sun's setting, I'll be more calm, so then I reflect, or the morning, blah, blah, blah. It has to be worked into the action.
I like that. On that note, we're going to take a break and come back with our third and final segment.
I chose Galen because of its strong reputation, great scholarships.
I came because I can take all my classes online.
Because Galen University opens doors to the outside world.
Their course offering in tourism.
It gives you more opportunity to become who I want to be.
If you want to connect with your inner champion to make the world a better place, then Galen is right for you.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because of its perfect portion sizes, and I can travel with it.
Because it's nice and soft and creamy, and it goes smooth on your bread.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because I eat it with my beans. I eat it with my fried jack. And you know why? Because it's nice.
Most of all, when you're on the plane, you know they only give you some crackers, and you could just take one out and enjoy it with Happy Cow cheese.
I'm Miss Baker, and I choose Happy Cow cheese because it goes well with all the stuff I bake.
Happy Cow cheese. Look for it in a store near you. Distributed in Belize exclusively by Emilio Ahmad and Sons Limited.
Here at Coupe Sheet Metal, we believe our job is very essential in serving our customers. And that is just one reason why visiting us is an experience to be remembered.
Here at Coupe Sheet Metal, we have a reliable fleet of trucks. We specialize in countrywide delivery of all our material.
Coupe Sheet Metal is a family business that was started by my grandfather, who even had many of his machines hand-built decades ago to make our products the most reliable in Belize. Come visit us at our new facility on Iguana Creek Road, just past the Belize River leading to Spanish Lookout.
Did you know that it's best to keep the lumber stored in a dry place?
At KT Enterprises, all our wood is stored in an enclosed space to provide our clients with the highest quality.
We allow you to personally select your lumber if you choose, and we deliver countrywide.
Be it deckboard, beams, and imported hardwoods such as red oak and white ash. At KT Enterprises, we provide you with the highest grade in treated pine, construction grade plywood, and imported hardwood, delivered to your door.
We continue to build Belize by reforesting its pine forest. Visit us today at 2.3 miles Iguana Creek Road, or give us a call at 671-0114 or 672-0114.
At NextGen, we work for you. Because despite you not being able to be together, we can keep you connected, united, talking to each other, seeing each other, communicating with each other. Stay connected with NextGen. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
Me and my Marie shops in Lake.
Me and my Marie Sharp in Indiana.
I'm in Rhonda Beach, California with my Marie Sharp.
Me and my Marie shops in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Me and my Marie shop that are Hertfordshire, England.
Me and my Marie shops in Taipei, Taiwan.
Marie Sharp, world-class products produced in Belize. New Buildings Limited is the company of choice when it comes to design, fabricating and erection of wide-span metal buildings in Belize. At New Buildings, we have a team of well-trained professionals that can produce the most innovative and durable metal structures. Be it domestic or industrial buildings, we can get it done for you. We have put together some of the most outstanding metal structures in the country. We also do estimates and consulting. Visit New Buildings in Spanish Lookout or give them a call at 631-8723 or 610-5185. New Buildings Limited, the experts when it comes to metal structures in Belize.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of Morning Matters. We're going to start now, Yasser, with this picture on the screen. This picture is one of Andy Palacio. Tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, well, that photo was taken in 2005 when the Image Factory turned 10 years. And that night we celebrated 10 years along with Stone Tree Records out of Benqueviejo, who, as I told you in the earlier story, Ivan Duran, much younger then, in 1992, he and I were only maybe 22 years old. We had done that -8 exhibit. So fast forward now, 10 years to age 32, I guess, or no, 37, because it was 2005. And we had a co-celebration, Image Factory / Stone Tree Records. And as part of the Stone Tree portion of the celebration, there was a outdoor concert next to the Image Factory on the bank of the Halova Creek. And that was a makeshift stage where at the time, Ivan was putting together the group called the Garifuna Collective, which we now know, very popular group. But that was the kind of the beginning of the Garifuna Collective. And that night, Nabor and Andy performed. I mean, of course, we know the history that both Andy and Nabor have gone on. But what is significant is their contribution to the cultural dimension of Belize. And I believe by extension, the cultural projection to the world, so that the world says, oh, Belize, that is the place where powerful Garifuna music, the sound, the Garifuna sound, the music comes from, the root line of that music. So I think we had a lot of encounters with Andy and a lot of work with Paul. And that was really a special type of collaboration because they are outstanding artists. Well, Andy Palacio is the only artist, one of 43 in the world, to ever be named by the United Nations, UNESCO, as an artist for peace. I don't think we even appreciate that to this day. And if there are many issues that I have with the current state of cultural projection, that would be one, that we did not use that moment to catapult ourselves further into the orbit of recognition for our artists on the world stage, so to speak.
As these are two great men that are on this stage right now, I will have to ask, what is one of your fond memory of each?
Well, I see Nabor, who was a master parandero. He was a paranda singer, so to speak. I see his work as community work, that he was once a chiclero. He was a worker, a fisherman, but also a musician. And he would go to parties and funerals and be with the people, with the music, and that the music provided for the people a sense of hope in a moment of despair, as in the case of maybe a funeral, or a sense of celebration in the moment of acknowledging, even if it's someone's wedding or birthday or whatever. So he was musician that was integrated into the society and who then catapulted to the world stage, so to speak. But Andy Palacio, a boy from Barranco, a small village in the deep south of Belize, he showed us the conduct of a cultural warrior, the conduct of a person that was willing to fight for his ideas on behalf of his people, in the case of his own Garifuna people, but then expanded to his Belizean people and expanded to his being a human person onto the world stage. So he was like a kind of a ring of fire where the spark and the blue flame of a fire is always the hottest. So that would be like the Garifuna part of his identity. And then as it comes to the red, that would be the Belize part, and then it flames out into the yellow and goes big. That would be the world. And I think that he showed us that a boy from Barranco could sing in a language in Berlin, in Mexico City, in Malaysia, in a language that none of them, in Japan, that they didn't understand. Yet touch them inside and have them cheer and go off and celebrate. You can't, that is art. That is art.
We now move to a picture with you and Leela Vernon.
Again, exact, if I could repeat just what I said. Leela, look, let us not be, and I know, Rhonda, you allow all kinds of discussion on your show, right?
Right away.
Let us not be soft on this matter. But women have been erased in the political space, in the social space, in the economic space of our society. And yes, they've also been erased in the cultural and artistic space. Not just today, 2020, they are erased, but in 2000, in 1990, 1950, and go on. And as deeper you go back, we could make the argument the erasure is even deeper. So the patriarchy, the macho-ness of a society imposes on the minds of our population that this is how it should be, and that is how it should be. And I think that Leela is a highly undervalued artist in our cultural imagination because she was a woman. If Leela Vernon was a man, she would have been touring the planet because her charisma and charm and enigma was so powerful. Not only was she a great singer and, performer, but she was a great advocate for Creole culture, for identity building, for consciousness building. She was always rooted in the idea of Africanness on our root lines of how we should see our identity. So her layers of the sense of being, again, the conduct of being a citizen was so outstanding. But unfortunately, we are not ready yet as a society to embrace the Leelas of the world.
I have one more image on my list of images. It is you and a young girl sitting down, you holding a book in front of her. You guys seem to be discussing the content of this book.
Yes, the book is called Binomium. It's a huge 464-page book that we did in 2015. Half of the book, so it's a book that comes in a case. Half of the book is my work or the ideas of what I've been doing in different projects. And the other half is the work of Michael Gordon, an artist from Belize City. And he and I had been going around to each library across Belize to present this book physically to them as a gift. And we were there in that library at the Hattieville Library, public library, which is no bigger than a little bedroom, a very small room. And when we got there, there was a young lady, the little girl there. She was reading another book, and then she saw us coming with this big book, and she's very curious. What is that? What is that? And I said, oh, of course, come and check this out. And we were paging through it. And I can remember that feeling being with her because I know the feeling I have when I open a book, especially the ones that have nice pictures. When I was young, I was like fascinated by pictures. I'm still am. But I think that simple things show others what you value. And then, like, I would ask her, turn the page for me, and I would see, it was amazing how she would carefully lift the page. And I said, wow, this young lady, 6, 7, or maybe 9 years old, has, again, I hate to bring it up like a scratch record, the conduct of becoming a citizen, as opposed to going there. I said, I will have to read that. So I'd mash up the book and just, I mean, there's a lot of reality like that that is very disturbing. But we cannot blame the youth. We have to blame ourselves. How come we can't be like that young lady, that young girl in the photo, who has a consciousness already? It proves to us that this can be developed.
It is interesting if somebody would know this young lady. And how long ago was this taken?
2015.
Okay, so she's still relatively young.
Must be high school, maybe she graduated this year.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see. So if you know her, tell her you saw her today and tell her what Yasser thinks of her, especially in this moment. Yasser, before we go, we know that art is something that different people have different opinion. But it seems that in our society, we are still, like you said earlier, we're not there yet, and we're not even 30% of being there. So what would you say to a young person that is yearning to be an artist, but don't have the support from the citizenry?
That is a great question you're asking this morning. A lot of young teachers ask me a similar type of question, which is, well, I don't feel I have the support from this one or that one, and I can't do this and I can't do that. I say, well, if you wait for someone to show up to give you the guidance, give you the courage, then the expectation might become like a disease on you. Expectation is a very difficult thing to manage, right? What you expect. Well, I may expect this and I may expect that. So I would advise that you find people that are like you, but that also disagree with you, and that also will be able to challenge you and you challenge them. Because nothing is wrong with disagreement, and nothing is wrong with debate, and nothing is wrong with engagement, because ideas are bigger than us. So if like I was saying, we had that idea earlier where I was saying as a module, we want to develop a photo show of the best young photographers from across Belize, whether they come from Crichton or Sartaneja, because the Sartaneja photographer might get pictures of the sea, of fishing, the Crichton of the forest. And when we bring them together, the magic and the sparks is what will be worth it, right? So then, of course, you have a problem with how do I catch a bus fare, how do I do this, how that. All of those logistical things is called life. And the battleground is to solve those problems. Because if you don't believe in the idea of what is not seen, then you will just have to constantly live with another thing that you can't see, which is your false expectation. Like, oh, I don't do that because of that one tell me I can't do it. A lot of those things are paranoia that you build up in your mind. And if you continue like that, then you're gonna not go anywhere. So I would say to seek people that are loving towards you and you towards them. And I don't mean just loving as in some kind of relationship or intimacy. That's a kind of love. I mean the love you share of ideas and the love you share of the subject or whatever. So I don't know if that is the...
That is sufficient. I think that is motivation enough. What is next for Yasser Musa?
Well, right now I'm finishing up. I'm collaborating with Katie Usher. It's a project I wanted to do long ago. So the first project after Image Factory turned 25, and we still have up our 25-year exhibit if you want to go online, imagefactorybelize.com. It's an online exhibit of 62 artists. You can go and watch it, and it's beautiful. But we're making a 24-page booklet about the art of Katie Usher, the artwork, the poetry, the thoughts, her ideas, her projects, compressed into one.
Yasser, let me say thank you for stopping in this morning, but more so, thank you for your contribution to this society. Thank you for the contribution you've made and the contribution you will continue to make. And again, congratulations on seeing 25 years in this industry, and hopefully we can see you for another minimum of another 25 years.
You're very kind. I appreciate your invitation every time, and thank you for those amazing questions, Rhonda.
Thank you and have a lovely day.